What is up, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in again. So, after I was done filming the previous episode, which was my basketball trainer rant, as I went on throughout the day, after I was done filming, just more topics and more things kept popping in my head that I wish I would have covered and addressed in the previous episode, which prompted me to do this second part. Okay. And today, topics that I will discuss and things that I will cover, I think can have a really positive impact on up and coming trainers, on trainers that are still trying to, figure out how to navigate this trainer space, and also, on trainers that might have some, that are conflicted, that might still trying to figure out what's right and what's wrong and how to grow their business. So I hope today's, episode will shed light on a lot of things that a lot of trainers have questions about. And I hope, that unlike me, which I had to learn everything through trial and error, that they won't have to go through that same process, even though I've learned a lot in the process. But it would be nice to save a lot of time, so that way I can understand how to manage and how to navigate in this space and what things really are. So kind of piggyback off the last episode, just kind of things that I've covered, kind of like to tie it all together. One thing that I'm guilty of this, and I still see a lot of trainers, with that same type of mindset. And that is, we have to stop glorifying, being in the gym 12 hours a day, like grind, work hard, work 7 days a week, no days off, that hooper mindset, like that we all carry with us into this training field. And right now we're businessmen. That's what we want to be. We want to treat this like a business, which means we have to be really efficient with everything that we do. To me, and I've done that. I've done long hours in the gym, like long days, no days off. I've done that, and just came to find out that it's just not an efficient way to run a business. It's not an efficient way to grow. And in the long run, it's not really sustainable. We have shelf life as trainers. I mean, I know that firsthand, just with how my knees are. It's these 12, 14-hour days in the gym. It's a no-go. It's a no-go. So we, we as trainers, our ultimate goal that we should work towards to should be, to start decreasing those hours in the gym, and then slowly start, stepping away from the gym. Maybe have people to run stuff for us, okay? And then we are able to do other things that are still going to allow us to grow our business, but which will, involve other things than just being on the court running workouts. So I think that should be the goal. The goal should not be, 12 hours in the gym, no days off, grind, hard work. We got to stop glorifying that. Like it's good. I mean, like, especially for like younger trainers, it's still manageable, but it's not sustainable. So my advice will be, let's stop glorifying this entire, like, selfless mindset as a trainer, like, because we have to take care of a lot of things as a trainer. And for us to just completely abandon ourselves, for the benefit of other people, like, that just makes no sense to me. So yeah, just, let's stop with that mindset, and let's start, working towards, stepping away from the gym and then be able to do other things. Because we don't want to, I mean, maybe some people do, but I know me personally, I do not want to be in the gym in like 2 years. I know that's kind of like the goal that I'm working towards to, is I don't want to be in the gym in the next 2 years. Like after 2 years done is, I would love, like 2026, I would love to be able to completely step away from the gym, have a team of trainers, of qualified trainers to run stuff for me, and then I do all the other things. I manage, I do all this stuff on social media. I do, off the court stuff, but everything's going to be geared towards running the business and building the brand even further. So, so that's kind of where I'm at with that. So hopefully we can start making that switch and that transition to treating this as a business and not, still having that hooper mentality as a trainer. So now, next topic that I would like to speak on is social media. Okay, for me, social media is, I mean, It's the most important tool that we as trainers have. And it's, one of the most important tools, if not the most important tool for any business, whether it's small business, whether it's big corporation, it doesn't matter. Social media is, I mean, the effect of social media and the impact that it can have on your business, on your growth, on everything around you is insane. Like, there's so many benefits to social media and how it can elevate our brand. And, I've seen like this little trend, for the past couple of years, especially like last year and a half, 2 years, whether it's in my comments, whether it's in my DMs, whether it's in other trainer comments, there's group of people, whether it's like trainers, whether it's coaches, that downplaying an importance of social media, which, if there's one thing that all those people have in common that downplay social media is that they have absolutely no presence on social media. They have pretty dry pages with zero to little content, with zero relevancy. It's just, that's a common trait that majority, if not all of those people have, right? So obviously they will talk about how social media is not important. But my question is, what is your goal? Are you just wanting to be a local trainer and like keep it at that? Or is your goal to build a serious brand and have your face and your name and your brand to be recognized globally, not locally, not statewide, not nationwide? We're talking globally. Okay. So is that your goal? If it's not, then no problems. You do not have to invest in social media, even though I still think there's a lot of upside to that. But my goal has always been to build one of the most influential brands in basketball, not just basketball training, but just in basketball. Okay. I want to have, one of the top tier platforms on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube. That's my goal. I want to have a global brand, okay? And I'm doing everything in order to get my brand there. And through doing all that, there's been so many doors that have opened up for me with so many opportunities, whether it's brand deals, whether it's free equipment, whether it's getting more people to sign up for my online training, whether it's more people to sign up for my in-person training, whether it's more people to come to my camps. There's just so many things that social media has gifted me with, so many different opportunities. Like, just to like name a few, like if you look at my gym, all the equipment that I have, it's tens of thousands of dollars. Like, we're talking about 2 shooting guns, like we're talking about all the balls that you can possibly ever think of, like we're talking about recovery equipment, like everything. All that stuff has been gifted me for free because of my social media presence. If we want to talk about all the shoes that I have, all of that stuff have been given to me because of my social media presence. And then I'm not even talking about brand deals and then, ability to monetize through views on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. It's just, there's so many avenues to boost your business and leverage everything that you have and build your brand and just build a fan base. Okay? Like, social media is so important. So another thing that I would like to touch on is few months, I don't know if it was a few months ago. It was maybe like 9-10 months ago. It was last summer. And one of the trainers asked me in the comments, he's an up and coming trainer, and he asked me, what do I think he should focus on, in order to grow his business? So I gave him a couple of things. But at number one, I put social media. Okay. And so there's a little basketball podcast. Okay. And on that basketball podcast, on that episode, people were discussing my advice and they were making fun of it because they were saying, how can you say number one is social media when, so you're just not going to talk about how you have to, develop yourself as a trainer, grow your knowledge, study the game, provide quality service. And a lot of people have DM'd me that episode to point that out to me. And to me, it was pretty, comical, because the reason why I said social media at one and I did not say any of those things that I just named is because to me, that's a given. I'm just assuming that as a trainer that you're doing that on like before anything else. Like that's just what comes with the territory. So it was just and mind you, the people on that podcast, they were saying how like social media is good, but it's not important. Well, people that are on that podcast, their social medias are pretty dry and, been dry for a very long time now. So I understand the bitterness that comes from those guys, which is fine. And if you guys listening, I just want you to know that your pages are freaking dry and you completely lost sense of how to connect with your audience. But that's neither here nor there. But to me, if your goal is to maximize everything with your business, social media is number one tool. It's free advertising. There's so many things that you can use social media for. So to me, social media is crucial. And you have to constantly evolve your content and constantly figure out new ways how to engage people, how to present the best form of content, how to relate to your audience, how to connect with your audience, and just not be afraid of what some people might think of that. I promise you, there has not been one time where I went on other trainers' page and hated for the content that they were posting. Doesn't matter whether I agree with it, whether I don't agree with it. Like, I just don't care, okay? Like, I don't have time to go there and give my 2 cents on people's content, people that I never met in real life, people that I really don't care for. So it's like, you have to care about you and your brand. And you gotta do stuff that other people may not like, but that's them. Like, you can't worry about those people. You know how many times people have, poked fun at like my skits and like what I do? Well, but how much do I really care? I really don't give a damn. Like, my brand is growing daily. I see the benefits of my content. And my growth is ridiculous on each platform. So you really think I care about what some guy with 200 views thinks about my content? I really don't. And you should neither. Like, just figure out your style, figure out what works, and just keep pushing. And I promise you, you will see the fruit of labor, and you will see like all the benefits that it comes with. So that's just me. That's just my 2 cents. Social media is huge. A lot of people struggle with social media. Social media is definitely more exhausting than training. You have to film daily, edit daily, post daily, come up with new ideas daily. It's hard. It's real work. And for me, it's like social media has been taking up more of my time than me just training in the gym. So, but it comes with a lot of perks. So just up to you, like where you want to take your brand and what you want to do. So for me personally, it's number one tool. And obviously, like I said, you got to do your job as a trainer. Got to evolve, got to provide quality service, got to study the game, got to understand how to teach, got to be able to demonstrate all that stuff. But that's a given. So that's why I didn't point that out. But another thing about social media that I would like to point out, because few trainers have DM'd me about that after my first episode, and they asked what I meant by it. And the thing was, they asked, what do you mean that other trainers post content for other trainers? And what I meant by that is, there is a certain audience of people, certain demographic that we have that follow us on social media. If you don't know that, I will just share that with you. For the most part, it's younger kids, young adults who have, mind you, pretty bad idea what attention span is. Have a very hard time keeping focus and just, paying attention. And a lot of the trainers having hard time growing their brands and getting any kind of engagement because stuff that they post, it's only going to be appealing to watch for other trainers. It's not going to be appealing to watch for a kid that's 14, 15 years old. So there's a lot of disconnect that comes, from a lot of trainers' content. Like you can't connect with an audience. And if you can't connect with your main audience, an audience that will bring you business, audience that will come to your gym for workouts, audience that will sign up for your online training, and all the other stuff, you have to produce content for that audience. Whatever you think that is, okay? I'm not gonna be giving out like detailed tips about what your content should be. Every trainer is different. But the audience is fairly the same for every trainer. And if you keep posting overly teachy content that has absolutely no fun or entertaining aspect to it, and you're just like throwing these difficult to pronounce basketball terms that only a trainer will understand. Shoot, even some of the terms that you guys be saying, even I don't understand that. I was like, what is that? So just understand your audience and cater your content to your main audience, to audience that can benefit you. Trainer space is a very small audience. So stop trying to impress other trainers with your content and try to target your main audience, which is young adults and kids, not other trainers. Other trainers not going to come to you and ask you for a workout. They're not going to pay for your online program. They're not going to do any of that. So just my 2 cents about that. Now, the next topic that I would like to discuss is, somewhat of a myth that I've spent a lot of years, chasing. I've sacrificed a lot of things in my personal life in order to be able to pursue that. And I thought that the ROI on that will be through the roof. And that is working with elite high-level players. Whether it's D1, whether it's NBA, overseas pro, doesn't matter. Did it bring me credibility? Yeah. I would argue what brought me credibility is my ability to show how my work with those players translates directly into a game. So my results, okay? I would argue that there's a lot of NBA trainers who work with high-level players who produce no results. Like, let's just put it out there. And I will get to it. But, as the time went on, it took me some time to finally understand that that's not where it's at. And, I work with a lot of those players. D1, NBA, overseas pros, I've worked with a lot. Top high school players, I've worked with all of them for a substantial amount of time. And it's not as shiny as you think it is. And I felt like I was so possessed by that idea to where that you can only be, top trainer if you work with top players. That was my idea. So I was on a pursuit of that, trying to get all the top players in my gym because in my opinion, that was the only way to become, an elite trainer, which I'll tell you now, that's not the case. It adds credibility for sure. So now when I give advice, it does, appear to be more legitimate because of my work with certain players. But there's so much bullshit that comes with that me personally right now at the point where I am at now in my career, I would have never dealt with that right now. Back in the day, I was letting a lot of shit slide because, I didn't want to like ruin that relationship with those players. So I would, my tolerancy level was pretty high. And I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of those guys have absolutely no regard for you, for your time, for other people's time, or anything as a matter of fact. Like every single summer, I have interns who come from all over the place. They help with every workout. They play defense, they rebound, they bust their ass. And we've had so many players that wouldn't even acknowledge their presence, wouldn't even like shake hands, dap them up, ask them their name. I'm not kidding you. Like, it's a real thing. Yeah, we had some very good guys and girls that would, speak after workout with our interns, get to know them, know their name, thank them. There were a lot of good players, but there were also a lot of not very good people. Okay? Like showing up to workouts half an hour late, 40 minutes late, just complete disregard of your time and let's call a spade a spade. Majority of those people, of those players, they expect free workout. They don't want to pay. So like I did volunteer a lot of my time back in the day in order to be able to cultivate that relationship. But then as the time went on, I was like, there's not much return really. I only post content with myself in it anyway. I don't really post players ever. So my brand keeps growing because of me. Like my brand doesn't stand on anybody else's back but mine. When new clients come, they come because of what they saw on my TikTok and my Instagram, which is content of me in it. Usually when new clients reach out, they state, the reason how they found out about me, how they saw me, why they want to come train. Which usually, the reason is they saw content on Instagram or TikTok. So new clients are not really being driven by the fact that I work with high-level players. You have to deal with a lot of bullshit that right now, I'll tell you right now, that would never slide with me right now. Right now, I've built such authority with my voice and, just my brand. And I have so much confidence that I will never allow anybody to act in any kind of way how a lot of the players have been acting in my gym in the past. Just coming through workouts, just BSing through reps, just going through motions, but that's just like some things that I'm pointing out. There was so much BS that comes with that it's just for all the stuff that I've given up in order to be able to do that, it's definitely not worth it. Definitely not worth it. And my brand would have still been where it is now. Maybe it would have took me, some more work to build, credibility. Obviously having all those players definitely added to that big time. So I'm not taking that away. But there was a lot of extra things that is really like really upsetting and really frustrating. The fact that I had to deal with that, my interns had to deal with that. You have no idea how many workouts my interns have asked me to skip on with high-level players. A lot of my interns also realized that after they were done with internship, after the summer, a lot of them had a completely brand new understanding of what basketball training really is and how much stock there really is with working with high-level players. I have a group of like 12 high school kids that I currently work with. I picked that group over a lot of high-level players. Those kids are engaged, they want to learn, they work hard, they good people. Like it's just I look forward towards those workouts. There's been plenty of workouts with high-level players where 1 hour seemed like it was 4 hours. Like it was just dragging. It was just... And yeah, some of that is on me. I should have definitely checked that. But, I just felt like I don't want to rub anybody the wrong way. I don't want to put anybody, on the spot in front of like all the interns, all the other people in the gym. So, I was trying to, tread carefully. But I wish I was, I had a little bit more authority when it came to that back in the day. I wish the authority that I have now, I had back then, which, like, you obviously get to that point, can't just get to it like that overnight. It takes you, it took me some time to build that up, build that confidence up, build that swagger up, build that voice, build that authority, which, now I only work with players that are serious about their craft, that come into the gym, that respect other people, that are being nice to other people, that are, showing up not just on time, but way before their workout. People that compensate me for my service and just stuff like that. I'm very picky right now with who I work and who I reach out to and who I reply back to. Very picky about that. So I say, as a trainer, it's definitely good to experience that. So, like, test it out, see it for yourself. Maybe your outcome with that will be, maybe your experience with that will be different than mine. However, I promise you that you can be an elite trainer, an elite mind, without training high level players. I know it just adds to credibility and it looks good on your resume, on your portfolio, like that, all that stuff is great. But just to kind of end it on this note, it's not what you think it is. It's just not. But I'm glad I did it because now I have an experience with that. Now I understand fully how that side of business works, and I understand fully what I will and will not tolerate. So, but one last thing I will add, not all of the players are like that, so don't get me wrong. But I would say there were a lot of bad apples. A lot of bad apples. And that's just how it goes. Like, if you call up all of my interns now, they will all tell you some players they would never want to work with ever again because of how they were treated during the workout, because of just like overall vibe that the player had towards other people in the gym, and like just so yeah, so that's kind of where I'm going to leave this topic, and I'm going to transition into a similar topic. So this last topic, I will split it into two. So I will start with this first one, and that's kind of like piggyback of what I was just talking about, is that, in my opinion, this is no shade to anyone, but this is just me speaking my mind and me being real about what I see, okay? And if you don't like it, I can't help you with that. I simply can't help you with that. There are a lot of trainers, NBA trainers, whatever you want to call them, that in my opinion, if you remove players that they work with, they all of a sudden become irrelevant. Because everything that they've built is based upon who they train. Like, the only reason people follow them is because of who they train, not because of how much value they can provide, because they don't really post much educational content, don't bring it like real knowledge value, just post a lot of players that they train, which I've always been very skeptical of that type of business model. And the reason why I'm saying that, because with the players, like, you never know. Players can pick up and bounce and never work with you ever again. Whether it's, go find another trainer, go sign with a different agency. I mean, whatever. There's so many reasons. Or sometimes dudes just use you, take advantage of you, and just leave, which did happen to me plenty of times. Came, got whatever they needed from me, and bounce, and that's that. So what I would like to point out is betting on yourself and being able to stand on your 2 feet because of who you are, to me, it's always a safer bet and a much better bet in the long run than just strictly relying on the players that you train and hoping that those players will be loyal to you and they will look out for you and, they will always be there for you, which that rarely happens. So my advice will be build your brand on top of your back and make your brand be relevant because of who you are and because of what you can do, of how well you can teach the game, how good your content is, and just how you can relate to your audience and build a connection. That right there to me is a much safer bet. And that will allow you to become more powerful in the long run. And, not having to rely or be at mercy of other people, of other players. So that to me is huge. There's a lot of trainers, if you remove their players, I don't even know what they will do. A lot of them will just cease to exist because their entire business model is built on working high-level players, which is good. Don't get me wrong. If it works for them, that's great, but it's not going to work for everybody. It's not going to work for everybody, and there's a lot of risks that come with that. I say build your business behind your face, behind your name, behind your voice. Have your brand be you, not other players that you are now, almost have to hold on to for your dear life, just so that way you keep your relevancy going, but to each his own. To me personally, I can't do that. I can't rely on other people. I can't, wait for other people. Can't be at mercy of other people. I just can't do that. Can't operate like that. I have to be fully confident in what's going on, and I'm confident in myself, and I'm it's a lot of pride, that comes into, to be able to say that everything I've built was because of what I do, not because of what other trainers, other players bring to my business. So, and now moving on to this next one, and that is, at times I would post content, where, I express some of the things that I disagree with in terms of certain drills, certain concepts, let's say cones, or let's say dribbling with two balls, right? Or, doing mic and drills, right? And when I, say that I disagree with those concepts, I by no means trying to take shots at an individual. I'm just more so pointing out that those drills, in my opinion, are useless, okay? And that's my opinion. I can say that. But not just one individual does that. Not just one trainer or coach uses cones, okay? But in a lot of those videos, there will be a lot of comments that would, bring up some NBA trainer name and saying, oh, but that guy's using it. And they go out there to war for that guy, which to me was always weird behavior. Grown man worshiping another grown man, and y'all are in the same industry. It's always been pretty fucking weird to me. Pretty weird. As a grown man, I'm trying to destroy anybody else that's in my industry. That's my ambition. I want to be the best. Okay, I don't want to be buddy buddies. I want to be the best in this industry. So it's not that I gonna disrespect another human being, but in terms of business, my job is to destroy them. And that other trainer or whoever that is has no authority to me. And that's how I feel. And if you don't like the way that I feel this way, well, maybe that's because of it's you. Maybe you don't feel that way. Maybe you're intimidated. Maybe it bothers you that somebody can feel confident when it comes to that. But in my eyes, I want to destroy every single one of these trainers. And there's nothing, that's just competitive spirit in business, in sports, wherever. You trying to compete with others and you're trying to beat them, like you're trying to win. So for me, this is not about collaboration and about building friendships in the industry. I build friendships with my clients. There's no need for me to be buddies with other trainers. I'm not saying that it's wrong, but I'm saying that's just not how I rock. You can do it on your own terms, but to me personally. So anyway, back to my point. I will tell you a little story that will make a little bit more sense to you as to why I feel this way. When I was first starting out as a trainer, I went to shadow other NBA trainers each summer. Thought that I will be able to learn something, expand my knowledge of the game, become better. And one summer, I went. I'm not going to tell you the state that I went to because then it'll be a little too obvious. But I went and shadow for few NBA trainers. And that was the most underwhelming experience of my life. It was hard to believe that that's what it was. It was really deflating. But at that point, I knew that I'm going to destroy all these guys. Because that right there is pretty freaking bad what I've witnessed. And the craziest part to me that like players like did not, but I don't know if they like are buddies with the trainer, if they like didn't want to, put him on a spot. But I've witnessed one trainer do the exact same workout with 8 different players, 8 different NBA players, same workout. All those 8 players play different position. They all have different roles. They all do different things. They all have different requirements by their team. They all have different tendencies, different spots on the floor. And they all did the exact same workout. There was one player in particular who was there, and I've studied that player's game for a very long time. I know his tendencies, his habits, role in the team, spots on the floor, go-to moves, and everything that player has done in that workout had zero correlation to who that player was or what his requirements are or what he will be doing on the floor. Like, it was nuts. And another trainer that we went to with 2 of my interns, absolutely no eye for any kind of skill work. Like some of the simplest things that players were doing wrong, and like your average trainer will spot that with ease. Couldn't do it. Didn't see it. Like, couldn't see like simplest of details. I'm not even talking about like something that you have to like really build your eye for, but I'm talking about like simple things. Like resetting your feet after a shot fake. Or just simply how to glide with a dribble. Or how to do like proper speed stops or spin seals. Just couldn't see it. Didn't see it. And that was the most underwhelming trip. And instead of being there whole week, on the 3rd day, left. There was nothing left for us to see on that trip. We've had an opportunity to go work with one of the big NBA players there, and we literally came up with excuse not to go, even though we could have been around that NBA All-Star, but it was so bad to the point that we didn't care. And you have to understand another thing. A lot of those guys have been put on to be in those positions by other people. A lot of those guys have convenient locations in the right areas and the right states where NBA players usually spend their off seasons. A lot of those guys have cultivated their relationship with those players. But after what I've witnessed, there's no way in hell those players go there because of the knowledge of those NBA trainers. I promise you that's definitely not the case. Not after what we've witnessed during those couple of days. The most underwhelming thing that I've ever seen. So when you see like these guys who work with these big name NBA players, I mean one guy pulled out a cone and the player was like pretty big name. And he pulled out a cone for a workout. I don't know how about you, but I don't pull out cones for my middle schoolers, let alone for a pretty elite NBA player. Like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was like, I'm pretty sure if like my high level players saw me pull out a cone, I know they would probably laugh or at least tell me to put that cone away or something. But even like with those trainers, it was like same type of vibe with those guys. Like dudes would come in late, would BS through their reps. Just some dudes just there just to get shots up, just going half speed. Like it was the same vibe. It was a lot of praising a player for doing absolutely nothing right. Like that was a weird one to me. Like there was like too much ass kissing by a trainer, kissing players' ass and like just being the biggest groupie, the biggest fanboy. Like that was a little sickening. Like that's nothing irritates me more when a trainer just derides the player. Like literally, like being a little fanboy. I can't stand that. Like it's just it's nasty work. It's like can't do it. I don't know how some of these guys do it, but just straight up worship their players. I mean, that's and then other trainers like put on pedestal these other NBA trainers, not knowing exactly what those guys even are about, but like just seeing who they in the gym with, so it's an automatic assumption that that trainer is the best thing ever. But I've been around those guys and fuck, wasted my time and money. That's one thing I can tell you for sure. So just as a trainer, if you out here idolizing, like I'm not saying like you gotta like talk down on them or like not respect them. Like you can still respect them. But like idolizing another man, like you in the same business, like you gotta go out there and you gotta like prove that you're better than them, and your goal should be to outcompete them. Your goal should be to get ahead of them. Like the fact that so many trainers view those other trainers on such pedestal, like I feel like that's why a lot of them just stay where they are on that same level and never really grow. Like for me, like the way how I knew that it was like nasty business is when, I had two of the top trainers at the moment, like back then in the day, that gave me a pretty bad advice. And if I listened to their advice, I would fail, majorly fail. And wouldn't grow. Like they told me not to make content with myself in it. And just told me to make everything about a player. Ever since then, my goal was to simply destroy them. Like it's just I feel like maybe like, trying to like learn from other trainers, like, that's fine. But when we starting like talking, going to war for like another grown man, like that's where you kind of lost me. That's where like, I think that's a big problem. For me, everything's competition when we're in business. When we're in business, my job is to become better than you. and to take your spot. There's no reason for us to be best friends. There's no reason for us to collaborate. I mean, that's just how I feel. And you don't have to feel like me, like, that's fine. But that's what drives me every day. That's what helps me to keep pushing every day. And, like, I'm not going to stop. Even when I'm going to be at the top, which I'm right there, I wouldn't want anybody to catch up to me. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how I feel. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you and say, oh yeah, enough for everybody to eat. We all gonna win. Hey guys, best friends, buddies, let's collab. No, don't feel that way, and can't make myself feel that way. It's just not in me. So I'm like telling you exactly how I feel. And if you feel the same way, at least know that you're not alone. It's fine to feel this way, in my opinion. But I'm not saying that it's wrong to feel other way. Like, I'm just simply speaking my opinion. That's all. So, like, biggest takeaways is, let's not glorify this whole, like, selfless, demean ourselves and just put players above us and just forget about us. As long as the player benefits, doesn't matter if we do. It's a wrong mindset. Let's not glorify, being in the gym 12 hours a day. Let's work to decrease those hours. Social media, if you want to grow and if you really want to be big time and you have ambition in this game and you want to reach the top, I say invest in it as much as you can. Working with high-level players, experience that if you can. But it's not going to do for you what you think it will. I promise you that. It's just not. And stop worshiping other grown men. Whether you as a trainer worship a player or you as a trainer worship another trainer, you don't have to be cool with me. Like, you don't have to, think highly of me. Because we're in the same industry. We're in competition. You're trying to be better than me. You trying to beat me, and I'm trying to beat you. And that's just the nature of the game to me. If it's not to you, and for you it's important to be friends and buddies, and, just be all about that, then that's cool. You're entitled to that. That's totally fine, and that's your approach. And nobody's going to knock you for it. It's just, I'm saying to me, that's a little strange. That's all. Very strange when other grown man is out there in my comments getting ready to die by a sword for that NBA trainer who's using cones with NBA players. Or having guys that dribble one time a game do dribble combos and play in isolation in the pick and roll. So I hope what I just covered, and I kind of rambled for a long time again, which is frustrating. I got to do better with time management. So far, I'm pretty terrible at it, but I just got to keep improving, keep doing more of these, keep getting better. I just want to make sure that I cover everything. So, and I'm probably going to later on realize that I missed the topic that I wish I could cover. So might be another part. You never know that, but I hope this helped. I hope my honesty is not, being offensive. It's just me keeping it real. And there's no insults here. There's no judgment. There's just me speaking my mind, and hopefully it can help some trainers, and really have positive impact on what they're currently doing and on their business. That's my only goal, because I wish I've had something like that to listen to when I was first starting out, and would have definitely helped me out a lot and saved me some time. So But that's it. I will wrap up this part 2 of this basketball trainer rant. And if I feel like there's other topics I will need to cover, I'll do another part. But for now, hopefully that's it. Thank you guys for tuning in again. And I'll see you guys soon. Peace.